The gun controllers are getting out of hand. They are going full on Oprah with lawsuits against everybody. You get a suit, you get a suit. If you were there, you get a suit. You know what? If you heard it from the street across the road, you were a suit. I mean, it is getting ridiculous because there's now lawsuits from Everytown for gun safety because someone was physically present at a tragedy, not impacted. This is important, and we're going to break it down right now because there's a lot more than just YouTube's getting sued. This is a really big occurrence. Everything will be linked in the description box below, and of course, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on. All right, my brothers and sisters, first off, let me just say I am getting over a chest and head cold, so if it sounds weird, I apologize. But let's get in here because I got to show you some of the stuff that, in my opinion, is so beyond the pale that it's getting to the point of just reckless obsession. You've got Everytown for gun safety, and what they are doing and what they are pushing forward at the behest of everyone's rights in the United States, just for their political goals and means, is disgusting. I did a few of these things out of order because I want to show you the one thing that they said that should stand out and should be sent everywhere. Here we go. Witnesses of Buffalo mass shooting file rare lawsuit against social media and gun companies. Now, again, I'm going to get into who's suing who for what, but now listen to this quote from a gun policy expert. Quote, given that there was an injury, even though a psychological injury, it's a small step for a lawyer to figure out a basis for suing to receive damages for that injury, just like a person who's physically injured, said Robert Spitzer, a gun policy expert and former chairman of political science department at the State University of New York at Cortland. That legal strategy, Spitzer said, is sure to catch on. When you think about the number of people who were emotionally affected by mass shootings, it's a pretty big number, he said. So, translating that out, any single individual who witnessed something, who saw it on TV, who drove by it, who heard about it and was affected, now everyone can just sue all the gun manufacturers. This is the reason that the PLCAA was built into place in a federal law in Congress, the Protection and Lawful Commerce in Arms Act. They are going around this sitting federal law at the expense of these people's time, emotion, and honest to God, their hopes. Because these lawyers are utilizing the potential that they were actually physically near a tragedy as something that they can make money on and the gun controllers can make gun policy moves on. They're being used. Let me walk you through this because this is really gross. And YouTube and Reddit also caught a little bit on this. Listen to this. In a rare legal move, more than a dozen people who last year witnessed a white gunman open fire and kill 10 black people at a Tops grocery store in Buffalo, New York, have sued over the trauma they endured. The reason I read that like that is because this is NBC. They're trying to drum up an emotional response. They could have said shooter and victim, but no. We got to make sure we hit all the descriptors to really drive the emotion and split people apart again. But anyway, let's continue. The lawsuit brought Tuesday by the nonprofit group Everytown for Gun Safety and exclusively obtained by NBC News names multiple defendants, including YouTube and Reddit, online spaces where the shooter was allegedly radicalized, as well as the retailer that sold the shooter's gun and the manufacturer of his body armor. The suit, which also names the shooter's parents, was filed in New York Supreme Court. Now, again, this is not the people who are traditionally in these lawsuits from Everytown and Giffords. These are the people who were not physically impacted. These are the people who were there and witnessed it. They're going after a trauma angle, not a physical impact angle. Mission creep is spreading so far and so fast. You get this idea out there, every lawyer in this freaking country is going to go after this because it's low-hanging fruit, particularly when Remington's insurance company settled for $76 million. This is what you're going. When you dangle money out in front, you put lawyers there as the vehicle and you put people there and say, ooh, it's a possibility through a national gun control advocacy group. Yeah, this is going to work out real great, even though the entire time, the whole thing is illegal. PLCAA, federal law. Anyway, listen to this quote. While I escaped without a bullet wound, the terror that the shooter inflicted on me and other survivors will live with us forever. It's my hope that this lawsuit can help to not only hold the individuals and entities accountable who allowed the shooter to carry out his racist rampage, but that we can also change the conversation around who constitutes a victim following tragedies like this one, said Fragrance Harris Stanfield, who worked at Tops with her daughter, according to a news release from Everytown. Hey, Change the conversation around who constitutes a victim following tragedies like this one. Really great job, Everytown news person, because that was a prepared statement written by Everytown to change the conversation around who's considered a victim. They are trying to open the floodgates to sue businesses out of existence. They cannot get their gun control because the legislature is not made up representative of everyone's dreams on the gun control side on a national population, because nationally you don't want gun control. No one does. But these far lefties do, so therefore, because they think it and they know it's better, they want it. And this is how they're going to do it. They're going to reconstitute the idea of a victim. This is not only an infringement on the Second Amendment. This is not only an abuse of the system. This is also disrespectful to the people who are actually affected, actually traumatized, and actually wounded and killed in this tragedy, in this murderous attack. These people, because, well, you know, they didn't get impacted physically, but their trauma's there, so they're trying to lump themselves in with the exact same bucket as those who lost their lives. This is really, really gross. And Everytown for Gun Safety should have a whole lot of shame for doing this, because they're the driving force here. But let's continue. Let me show you what YouTube is saying, or excuse me, what they're saying against YouTube. The lawsuit, which was announced Wednesday afternoon at a news conference in Buffalo, names RMA Armament, a body armor manufacturer, and Vintage Firearms, LLC, a gun retailer, as defendants, in addition to YouTube, as well as its parent companies, Google and Alphabet, and Reddit. Everybody, let's just get on here. Who has a lot of money? Quote, the death, terror, and other harm suffered by plaintiffs was made possible by the companies and individuals who facilitated and equipped the shooter for his racist attack. As a result, their negligent and unlawful actions, the shooter gained the racist motivation, tools, and knowledge necessary for him to commit the mass shooting at Tops, the lawsuit alleges. Nothing to do with the horrible person who committed this crime. Nothing to do with the criminal activity. Nothing to do with the fact that it's in New York and has gun control out the wazoo. No. It's YouTube's fault. It's a gun manufacturer's fault. It's a gun retailer's fault. It's a body armor's fault. It's Reddit's fault. It's just overall free speech's fault. If we just couldn't say these things would never happen. This is where it's going. If you do not stand up and activate and get people in Congress who can put a stop to this, it's going to continue. And pretty soon, anybody who watches a news report is going to be able to sue somebody, a gun manufacturer, because they were traumatized by the news reporting. This is where this is going, make no mistake. And that is what I've got for you guys today. Let me know what you think in the comments field below, and I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.